ウィンドブルーム祭の本番がもうすぐ始まるぞ。早く見に行こうぜ。
どう？よかったでしょ？
旅人いらっしゃい。シバルマラン AA ランドファミリーに加わる準備はできた？グルメ系 AA に出てくるみたいな超豪華なご飯も欲しいぜ。
両選手、準備ができたようですね。それではホテルドゥボール特別料理対決開始。
カトラリーの準備も完了。冷凍の時間よ。最高の一品よ。
とにかくそこのレストランからナタ産の野菜を至急調達したいと依頼を受けて、僕とイファが来ることになったんだ。
俺は付き添いでな。さあ行くぞ。おっと逃がすかよ。
月始めの3日間、飛行物を連れて外出してはいけないらしい。
参ったな。
ここは昔レムリア時代に建てられた公衆浴場で、確かモデストの秘典に書いてあったような気がするわ。
真の偉大なり蛮族滅びよ。
古竜の時代の謎の遺物、それに俺がフォンテーヌに来た理由を合わせて考えれば、例の密輸事件の捜査を逃れたものかもしれない。
僕の師匠にして母の黄金レインドットさ。彼女が僕をモンドに向かわせた時、ある大きな課題を与えたんだ。世界の真相を探せというね。
なんで街の中に魔物がいるんだ？想像してたよりも状況がひどいみたい。
また敵が来るぞ。
本件の被告人セピロス騎士団調査小隊隊長アルベド。
何をしたんだ？殺人事件？
ホムンクルスが暴走して理性を失い、他者を傷つける狂気的な行動に走る。
魔女会と正式な会談を行うことを願ってるんだ。
あら、そんな勇気のある子がまだモンドにいたの？
天地が逆さになった時、人は世界の本質を知る。なら盤面が逆さになったら、
なぜ罪のない人を。
どうしてこんなことに？ヴィレットが襲撃にあって。
これはレムリアが戦争のために用意した薬物なのよ。人体研究という課題を諦めたことは一度もない。モンドの法律にのっとり被告人アルベドを殺人および死体遺棄で有罪とする。今も近くから聞こえるよ。
お？なんだ、バルバトスか？
ファルか？
当群星低语，当夜幕垂落，命运的轮盘已悄然转动。八面灵头折射智慧锋芒，牌中事件在掌心翻动。盾与矛在星河下碰撞，元素交织成战略的罗网。这里没有注定的败者，唯有将星辰轨迹铭刻于卡背的译者。
Hello, welcome to the AstraNox Invitational. I'm your host, Summation, and I'm joined by my co-caster, Sumi.
Hello everybody, it is a joy to be back. I'm Sumi, some of you know me, some of you don't, but we'll all learn about me together. And more importantly, the game. The meta is completely different from when I last casted, so it's going to be a joy to see how it's changed, and how in some ways it stayed the same.
Yes, indeed. The more things change, the more things stay the same. Except Kachina. Well,
Except
I guess history does rhyme sometimes. Regardless, we will certainly be having some amazing matches coming today. But for those who haven't caught up to this tournament, let's talk about exactly what we'll be doing today.
Before we go into all of that though, first and foremost, this tournament is sponsored by Shining Soul. We'd like to let all travelers and duelists know that the second set of Shining Soul's Genius Invocation TCG cards are now officially on sale. You can purchase the brand new in-stock cards at the official Genshin Impact store, or the Shining Soul official store on Taobao. Collect the Genius Invocation TCG cards, gather your friends, and let the duels begin. AstraNox Invitational is exclusively sponsored by Shining Soul.
The second set of the Genius Invocation TCG physical cards. Now that's something I want to look forward for. As for our event today, the AstraNox Invitational is a tournament in which we have invited players all across the world of Genius Invocation TCG to compete. Truly a one-of-a-kind experience for the competitive TCG scene. For the America, Europe, and Asia regions, 16 of the top scoring players from Prince Cup and Cat's Tail Gathering will compete in the Prince Regional Qualifiers, 3 of which will advance to the elimination stage.
For the Chinese regions, 48 players with top scores from Chinese tournaments will compete in the Fanta Regional Qualifiers, 9 of which will qualify and advance onto the elimination stage. Both regions will play a best-of-3 conquest, using double elimination format until the strongest duelists come out on top. Once the players are decided, we will move on to the elimination stage.
Yes, and in the elimination stage, the 12 players who have graduated from the preliminary stage will compete in a double elimination format to determine their final tournament placing. Matches leading up to the finals will be best of 5 conquests with bans, and finally the grand finals itself will be best of 7 conquests with bans. It is certainly a tough bracket for our top players to duel it out on the international stage.
Absolutely, they're going to have to go through a lot of decks and know a lot of game knowledge to actually come up with 5 and then 7 decks. That's going to be truly impressive. For today's section of the tournament though, we will be playing in a best-of-3 conquest format. What that means is players must submit 9 different character cards without repeats to make a total of 3 unique decks. The tournament is open deckless, so before each match, opponents will be able to see each other's decks and strategize around their plans. If a player wins, they can no longer use the deck for the remainder of the set, and losing players may use their previous decks until they are able to pull out a win or are knocked out. Only 3 rounds to decide who goes to the loser's bracket or straight home, so this is sure to bring some intense games.
Indeed, conquest format means you cannot simply just sit on your Kachina and let her do all the work. You have to cycle your friends out sometimes, you know? For this week, we'll be considering and covering the Prince Regional Qualifiers. For the first 3 days, players have already duked it out off stream to determine the higher bracket matches. And the final 3 days, we are live broadcasting them right now to cover the rest of the bracket. And next week,
Next week, over on Bilibili, the Fanta Regional Qualifiers will begin. Like our region, for the first 4 days, players will already duke it out on stream to determine the higher bracket. The final 3 days, though, will be streamed live, covering the rest.
Yes, and on the 9th of June, the elimination stage will begin. The final frontier. All streaming channels will be live, including us on YouTube and Twitch, the Japanese channel YouTube, and the Chinese on Bilibili. Each of them will have their own respective language for casting, spotlighting the grandest of stages. What a treat.
Absolutely. And aside from the amazing games that the players are going to play, why are they here in the first place? Well, that's naturally because of the prizes. Look at those. So from 32nd to 25th place, they will receive 60 yuan. 24th to 17th will receive 90 yuan. 16th to 13th place will receive 120. 12th to 9th will receive 160. 8th and 7th will receive 320. 5th and 6th will receive 640. 4th place will also receive 640. 3rd place will receive 960. 2nd place will receive 1,280 yuan. And 1st place will receive 3,200 yuan. In addition to the cash prizes though, they will also receive various other physical gifts thrown in there as well. A pretty nice prize pool all around if I do say so myself, but we'll have to see which player gets to take home the biggest prize of them all.
Indeed. Right, and speaking of the players, here's this week's bracket. To catch us all where we left off, yesterday we saw Kevin C continue his fight in the losers bracket, defeating the EU Titan, Binsu. Meanwhile, in the upper bracket, Dio fell 0-2 to Air and now must continue to fight his way through the lower bracket versus Tadano Megane. Otherwise, he will risk elimination. Meanwhile, Air, who has moved on to the winners finals, will be facing Inzaghi tomorrow.
Yes. For the first game, I believe we are taking a look at Tadano Megane versus Dio. But before that, let's take a look at the player profiles.
Actually,
I got the matchup wrong?
Yep, I believe you'll be looking at Kevin C's match first.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, you're right.
Yes. First up is here's the honored one, Kevin C, the Prince Cup Atlantic champion. 7 times first place finishes in Cat's Tail Gathering. The maker and the debut of the Sino Crab and HHC decks in the tournaments.
Yeah, Kevin C is probably one of the most decorated players of all time. Won first place in the Prince Cup Atlantic Champions versus some of the best players in North America and Europe, and also has the most first place finishes in the Cat's Tail Gathering at a total of 7. I think Kevin has milked more money from CTG than some of the other top players combined.
I'm not sure about that, considering how Inchak is doing, but we'll get to that later. Indeed. Anyway, Kevin C is quite infamous or famous, we could say, for being known as the honored one. From his all-around consistent and absolutely overpowering playstyle. Isn't that right, Sim?
Absolutely. Just playing against him, he calcs all the lines. It feels like he very rarely makes mistakes, and when he does, he's always able to find some way to slip around and take the game. He's also such a strong player because of his deck innovations. As you mentioned earlier, he was the first one to debut Sino Crab and HSC. He's always finding these new ways to innovate on existing playstyles and just using that to take advantage over his opponents, finding the good matchups where there might be none before.
Yes, Kevin C, from what I remember of his past history, he's a very methodical player with a sour spot for luck-based playstyles from the frustration, I believe you can see even in the Prince Cup Atlantic Champions. He has to face off against Ting's luck-based deck. That is certainly something.
Ting luck is certainly something. He's not here in the finals though, I don't believe, so we're not going to be seeing any of that unfortunately. But that's all for Kevin. Let's take a look at his opponent.
Yes. Right, Dosha Bao is also a champion in his own right. He has won the Busan WCG 2023 GITCG World Champion and the Japanese Haruno Shikisei Shokan Taikai Champion.
So
He
this
has
would make Dosha Bao, I think, the only double regional card back contender in the entire game. There might be another one mixed in there, but he's one of the very few.
Indeed, mostly because of the Prince Cup restrictions binding players to only one region. However, the Busan WCG 2023 Invitational is not like that, and that also qualifies a golden card back. So really, he's the only double golden card back from 2 regions, which kinda shows how much he's good at dealing with multiple regions environments.
I think it might be particularly important in this tournament because we have mixed regions here. We have some people from NA here, some from Europe. We have also some from various other regions thrown in here as well. I think it's like Park as well as Tadano Megane came from like more Asian regions as well. So like there's so many different playstyles, a lot of different metas coming in from different regions. Dou Xiaobao having experience dealing with multiple different metas in multiple different regions like might give him the edge against some of these players.
Yes, but you must not underestimate Kevin C. He's basically been here since the advent of Genius Invocation competitive TCG. We might be able to deal with that. Right, and now let's look at our lineup, shall we? Soon, honors.
Yeah, of course. So first up, we have Kevin Z's deck. He selected a Layla Kazuha in Herald deck. This is a mid-range deck that focuses on stalling out the opponent and then waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike while dealing mixed damage in there with Kazuha. As for Dou Xiaobao, he picked a Kuki Venti Hu Tao deck. Now this looks very reminiscent of like the Kuki Herald's decks of days past, where it's like you use Kuki and one other character to stall at the mid-game, deal consistent damage. Oh, sorry, no, this is the wrong deck fix. My bad.
Yes, it appears that we have that the Kevin C's real deck will be...
It is, in fact, I just got from production, it is the Noelle deck, using Kachina and Kokomi as aids. So this is a very different stall deck from what we're used to. Usually Barbara is in there for the Hydro slot, and we play double Hydro for the Hydro Resonance, which is quite strong. But because the Elemental Resonances got a rework a while back, double Geo is becoming a lot popular, and some of the characters got a 2 HP buff. Mainly Noelle, Zhongli, and Kokomi, which is why we see Kokomi there instead of Barbara. The 12 total HP means she has a lot better breakpoints. This deck is focused on stalling out the game and equipping Noelle, with Kachina thrown in there for some early damage potential.
Indeed, as you can see, there's the Kachina talent for the card draw to eventually get into the RAM cards for the final Noelle, equipped with possibly Tenacity of the Millilith or Golden Troops Reward, and Wolf's Gravesoul, a stable claymore from the 3.3 times.
Yeah, I mean, it's still strong as ever. That passive is so good. But you do need to get character cards below 6 HP, which, with some of the max HP buffs coming in, could be a lot harder than it used to be. But that also means Noelle herself is harder to break through, with the buff to Geo-Res in there as well. Looking at the food he's running, he's going with the Sing Your Heart Out, which is expected. You know, it basically acts as a second and third countdown to the show early on, as well as giving your characters a bit of a damage buff by buffing their dice economy by making their heal cost less. As well as the Mystique Soup, one of the strongest cards in the game that was added in the recent patches. What it basically does is it lets you pick one of 4 different card effects, which will show you 3 of them. So there's a lot of strong combinations that come from that.
Right, Mystic Soup actually shows one of 6 different effects, and Sing Your Heart Out instead of giving your skills less dice, actually makes your switch characters cost less dice. Anyway, speaking of 12 HP characters, the Dou Xiaobao has a Hu Tao with 12 HP, which might prove a little trouble for Noelle. And it is also a rightful reward build, which means that this Hu Tao takes those damage and converts it into energy, making her heal herself with her burst. Right.
There's also the Emblem of Severed Fate thrown in there as well, buffing her burst damage even more. And it will also make Hu Tao, or whoever it's equipping it, gain energy whenever one of the other characters uses their elemental burst as well. So this is a very scary Hu Tao. Rifle Reward plus Emblem of Severed Fate is going to make her burst damage deal plus 4 damage in total, so that will be roughly 10 damage. If that does get cast, assuming she is buffed by being below 6 HP as well. Venti is also another character that got the 2 HP buff. I didn't know that. Interesting.
Ah, yes, that's quite the hidden adjustment. Like people usually remember the Kokomi 12 HP or Zhongli 12 HP or Noel 12 HP, but not many people remember Venti. Right, enough of that, and we'll be getting into the actual match. Let's see. Doshabao starts first with 7 electro dice on the
That's
mulligan.
very good. Oh, going for the double mount to Mystique Soup. So playing double mount like this will make it so that every time Do Xiaobao plays food in the future, he gains dice, but this turn it'll be dice neutral. I assume this is either a skill into Makashose Pass, or it could choose to equip the Makashose. Oh, actually going for Mystique Soup. Curious. Unfortunately, I
is
can't read
actually-
Chinese, so I don't know which effect he gets.
That would be... Huh.
I think it's the Serenity effect, which will make the character that has it take -2 damage the next time they take damage.
Indeed, it seems to be that way. And the mouse effect to add a food card to your hand once per game for each deploy has triggered and has added Adeptus Temptation and Rainbow Macarons. Both are very essential cards for the 3000
Absolutely.
HP.
Rainbow Macarons is really strong early, because like, it'll let your character stay very, very healthy. But the unfortunate Adeptus Temptation isn't going to be that useful until after Hu Tao has a bit of energy stacked into her, because that's the one you really want to get the surprise burst damage on. Like, the breakpoint of 10 damage is so powerful, although Kevin Z has some characters that can play around it.
Yes. But if you have 12 HP, you just have to put them below 10 HP for the burst. We'll have to see if Doshabao can manage that.
Certainly. Do Xiaobao, facing off against Kashina, now in her Elemental Skills Night Soul state.
Yes.
Unfortunately, not familiar with how exactly Kachina's works in particular, but I've heard from players that with the correct setup, Kachina could do 20 damage turn 1. So this could be
Yes.
quite scary.
So basically, Kachina, after she uses her elemental skill, enters her Night Soul state and gains a technique card, Turbo Trolley. By paying 1 dice of any kind, Turbo Trolley spends 1 Night Soul point and deals 2 geo damage to the active character and 1 piercing damage to the next character on standby. Only 1 dice for 3 damage total.
That's pretty good, but you do need to spend 2 to get it in the first place. So it kind of evens out.
It sort of evens out, but she still does it by using any dice, which means that you basically get her set up way too often. As you can see here, Kevin C will now demonstrate the first turn Kachina play.
Oh, Venti already chunked down to 11. Control Directional Blast, that's an interesting card. I guess Dao Xiaobao is expecting a lot of summon base decks to come into play here. Second hit already going in as well. Venti's chunked quite a bit.
Yep. And since Kachina ran out of Night Soul points, the technique is discarded, which is the reason for the Boar Princess. Press any equipment that is discarded gives you 1 Omni dice.
I did not know that techniques counted for Boar Princess Omni dice. That's actually
Counts for any equipment, my friend.
I guess this technically is equipment. Very smart from Kevin Z as well, like being able to get 2 skills off turn 1. I can skill again if you want, or to play the strategize.
It is actually a standard line. Kachina, if you play turn 1, round 1 is basically like you go Boar Princess and then you start trolling on them.
Yeah, and twirled Kevin did. Managed to chunk Cookie all the way down to 4 HP through the Serenity debuff as well.
Yes.
If it wasn't for that Serenity Mystique Soup, that Cookie would be gone. So, very smart of Do Xiaobao to just instantly pop that, recognizing that Kevin does have that first turn kill potential.
Not just potential, it is almost a certainty.
With the Covenant as well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but Do Xiaobao likely should have expected this. The I believe the Mystique Soup was actually to try to get the Mystique Soup effect that discounts your skills cost by 2 elemental dice. Maybe Doshabao did not get it, but tries to salvage it by going for Serenity.
Yeah, but just leaving Kuki open like that is so greedy into Kachina deck, because you know Kevin Z has the Covenant of Wrong, so that guarantees him 3 uses of that Turbo Twirly, and if Kevin has any other dice generation as well, it basically guarantees Kuki's demise in the first round. So very greedy Dosha Bao. We lose Kuki early, which is already pretty bad. But more importantly, we lose the Makashose Hunter on her as well, so that's going to be less dice generation for the rest of the game, as well as less dice draw. We have no other way to generate dice in our hand, and with just Venti and Hu Tao left, it's very hard to see how Dosha Bao will come back.
Yes, the Marshose Hunter on Kuki, I would say, is absolutely a misplay from what I'm understanding, because if you're playing against Kashina, as I said, you must be ready to account for the FDK. And at that point, Kuki was at 10 effective HP. Doshabao likely know or should know that Kachina absolutely can defeat Kuki that round.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. I think Doja Bao should have played the swap stall a bit more in the turn 1, spread the damage out, and then if there was dice to spare, if Kevin Z went for like a ramp play, playing his Numera Cities, which we know he didn't have in hand, maybe then you can go for it. Kachina Burst coming out, doing 3 damage, also getting a nice status there. What does that do?
That
Turbo
status
Drill.
allows Kachina to deal +1 damage to the active character and +1 piercing damage to the outfield character when she
quite
starts
scary.
trolling. It is absolutely scary, and if you're not careful, Hu Tao can be very easily in kill range.
Well, Kachina only has 1 Turbo Twirly stack right now, and then Doja Bao has enough dice to skill and to normal attack. So Kachina will only be able to Turbo Twirly once and then reset the field before getting overloaded off, and potentially risking a knockout as well, because Doja Bao still has 1 more Mystique Soup in the deck. If he's able to roll a Fury attack stack, which will make him deal an additional 2 damage, it would be enough to knock out Kachina. Which will mean
But
Kevin
here's-
Z is down on a lot of early pressure. Should consider some swap stall going on, but the Geo-Resonance is well in hand to prevent that from really taking effect.
Yes, Geo Resonance gives the active character 3 shield. Which
Doesn't need
means
crystallize
that,
anymore.
yep, it doesn't need crystallize, it doesn't need geo damage, it doesn't need you to use a skill. It just gives you 3 shield, straight up. Right, here we see that Kevin C, afraid of getting Kachina defeated, or perhaps a tactical tank on Kokomi, decides to switch off and do some simple ramping.
Oh, the cleanse with the skill!
Oh, that's it. That's certainly interesting. Now, Doshabao cannot overload on Kokomi into Noel. And Noel is Kevin C's late character, which means that Noel is now safely protected, and Hu Tao now has to deal with the fallout of the Turbo Twirly.
Yeah,
And
in
the
addition to
influence.
that, as well, there's also going to be some Hydro Aura on his Hu Tao now, which means the next time she gets chunked by either Noelle or Kachina, there's going to be a little bit of extra damage on her as well, plus some survivability due to the Crystallize, granting either character a shield.
Indeed. And not just that, the HP difference is actually quite obvious, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
The Hu Tao is scary though, because Hu Tao within her buffed state does 3 damage on a normal attack, which means it only requires 1 Pyro Dice to actually do the big damage. And then if you're able to get the Blood Blossom effect as well, if you normal attack on even dice, Hu Tao does still chunk, and there's the burst that you always need to worry about. It's already almost stacked up, only 1 energy away. Dosha Bao, if they're able to find something next turn, can make a comeback.
Indeed. I'm kind of worried about Hu Tao's state because, well, let's see.
Venti is basically a non-factor at this point.
Yep. 20 is a non-factor at this point because you cannot escape Kachina's attacks when you only have 2 characters left. Somehow or another, that Turbo Twirly will find its way onto you.
Kevin Z also managed to pass turn priority over into Do Xiaobao. We'll need to see if that's a mistake or not, but this does leave the Noel open to damage. Unfortunately for Do Xiaobao, though, he doesn't have any form of energy generation other than that emblem. And so, like, no star signs, no calc, so can't instantly charge this Hu Tao burst and go for the one-shot. It would actually be fairly close to the overload. But this time is just force the normal attack, and then after that, Gachina is threatened with an elemental burst from Hu Tao, so Kevin still needs to play this careful. Needs to swap stall and spread damage out in between Noel and Gakomi, and then maybe try to get something done with Gachina in the end phase.
Yeah, but I think that might be Kevin C's plan to get overloaded onto Kachina, because you can still get her Turbo Twirly out at that point. And
that's
that
true.
that might be her final chance to get it out.
Yeah, because Turbo Twirly, if you swap off Kachina before you use both technique points, counts as a summon, am I correct? And we saw that happen last
Yes.
time. There was 1 stack on it, so yeah.
Yeah, the technique detaches and becomes a summon that deals 1 less damage than the technique version. But it's still quite something when you consider that Turbo Drill Field is still in play. Right here, Kevin C can also bait out some sort of, perhaps the Adeptus Temptation by playing the Geo-Res, forcing Do Xiaobao to use the Adeptus Temptation to defeat Kachina before she could do more substantial damage.
Well, Elemental Burst right now will lethal regardless because of the overload, but yeah, I like Kevin Z's play here more, swapping over onto the Kokomi. Like, if Do Xiaobao wants to go for the Adeptus Burst to one-shot Kokomi with 8 damage, then that's fine. You're down a lot of threat, Noel is basically safe for the rest of the game, and Kachina is the only one under any real sort of threat. The swap coming in here complicates things a little bit. Oh, the Venti
Yep.
Field is on there as well, making swaps cost less. Going over onto Noel with the Overload.
Right. And with Noel, Kevin C happens to have a copy of Wolf's Gravestone in hand.
True. It will do 5 damage if he normal attacks, but that will also use all of his dice and leave Noel open to an Adeptus Temptation Burst from Hu Tao. Because it is exactly 5, and with Venti dead, Do Xiaobao could see free swap as well. But that might be fine, because you bait out Burst, and the Kachina next turn will have 1 turn of Turbo Drill Field left. And Hu Tao will run out of her enhanced state as well, so it could be enough to win. You also have the Geo-Res to take 1 hit. Is sacrificing Noel here worth it? Kevin Z needs to decide. Time is running out.
I do not believe it is correct to sacrifice a Noel here. I think the Wolf's Gravestone is crucial if you want to defeat Hu Tao before she gets to burst again with rightful reward.
Yeah, and it looks like Kevin Z agrees with you. Doing the safe play, swapping over to Kokomi. Not going to invest any dice at the moment. He just needs to run Do Xiaobao out of dice first, and then he'll have a free opportunity to swap over onto Kachina.
Yes, with 5 dice remaining, Do Xiaobao will need to consider the play safely. With 4 dice, now only playing Mystic Soup will allow for Do Xiaobao to get the dice needed for an Adeptus Burst if that is required.
It's a
But
gamble
now-
on the Sneak Suit though, because as 6 effects, but it'll only display you 3. But I don't think Kevin Z wants to take that gamble. We know how much he hates RNG plays.
Yes, but unfortunately Mystic Soup is just too good for the current meta. He might need to take a break for it. Regardless, he does not and simply ramps up for Noel to take the field at a later date.
I like this play from Kevin Z. You get some like extra dice economy in there because of the extra free swaps coming in from that food card, and then you also get to fill your hand with some more draw options as well, like instantly utilizing as well, equipping the Wolf's Gravestone with the extra dice, and just sacrificing the Kokomi, which I think is the correct play. Kokomi is by far your least valuable character, and Do Xiaobao doesn't want to commit anything as well, just ramping up. Might need to tune a card though, just to reset the Hu Tao buff state. But no, choosing to go for Macarons to try to keep her healthy. Does get some extra dice. No Pyro though, so we'll still have to tune.
Tunes 1. Perhaps going to tune 2 for the burst.
I don't think bursting here is the correct play. If you burst here, you will have no threat over onto either. Whoa, really? Going for the burst?
Whoa. Perhaps Perhaps Doshabao wants Hu Tao on max HP, so that he can effectively fend off against Noel's 6 HP breakpoint.
Perhaps. That is something to consider.
I'm not sure if that's correct though. Kevin C might gamble for a Fury effect and start smacking.
My issue with with going for the burst there is that you don't realistically have threat over onto Noel this turn. You do not have enough dice to stack up for a 3 energy burst and then use it again. Maybe with the rifle though, it could change things.
Yep, that rifle absolutely will provide Hu Tao with some much needed energy, especially paired with the macarons. And remember, there's another copy of macarons, so if you need more healing, there you go. That's more things to consider. And
Yeah,
also a copy of Tada for some emergency damage.
True. I mean, yeah. Rifle, the way it works is that you gain 1 stack every time you take damage or healed, and then when it reaches 3 stacks, you gain an energy. And with Macarons, Kevin Z smacks once, it'll gain Doshabao 2 stacks, and then the Tada will guarantee a 3rd for some surprise energy being thrown in.
Yep, I think it is inevitable that after this turn, Hu Tao will have burst again. The rifle...
After Kevin Z attacks once, Doshabao is guaranteed, more or less, a burst this turn. But Kevin Z also can't afford to swap stall, because Kachina is within 1-shot range. If he does swap over with the Overload... No, Kachina will live on HP, but that's beside the point. Unless Doshabao gambles for Fury with Mystique Soup, which currently isn't in hand. So I think the safer play here is to just stay on Noel. We have double Geo Residence and some Pizza for some extra breakpoint healing. Unfortunately, though, the Tenacity of the Millilith are coming very late this game for Kevin Z. He's not able to utilize the extra shield to preserve HP.
Yep, and there's the second energy for Hu Tao. Now with one more action from Hu Tao and you'll get burst.
Noel is too tanky though, no Emblem with Severed Fate right now. Sitting in 10 HP exactly. Going to skill to get the buff up.
I think at this point you might want to... Geo-Rest Kevin? No, switch to Kachina. Trying to sacrifice the Kachina instead. Using the Sing Your Heart Out's effect to switch for free.
Yeah, I mean, bursting here, I think will let Kachina live on... No. Bursting here guarantees Kachina goes down. But on the other hand, it also buys Kevin Z more time to run out the timer of that Hu Tao burst. Because Doshabao will need to charge that up again. 6 HP going straight down through the shield as well. Quite scary with the overload. Huda gets healed back up. But this does buy Kevin Z more time.
Yeah, now Kevin C might consider the Mystic Soup once more.
Perhaps. With the... No, Sumeru City is already used up, so won't actually have enough dice for 2 actions. Especially because Noel Burst isn't up, so not discounting the normal attacks right now.
Here comes the Mystic Soup. Let's see what effect this gives. If it gives the discount too, Kevin C might have a realistic chance of winning in the next round.
Perhaps. Really wondering what effect he's fishing for.
In general cases, Kevin C should fish for the discount 2 dice effect, because that gives him more action economy. Ooh! Gets healing?
Oh, with the Mao as well, so still has 2 actions. I like this play more from Kevin personally, just the equip.
Yeah.
I think going for Tenacity was the correct play regardless of what effect he got. I kind of expect him to fish for the healing just to get out of breakpoint range. Because the Tenacity will give him some extra HP to work with. Oh, wait, it actually gains shield this round. No, that's from the skill. Never mind. So it gives him extra dice to work around when Noel gets hit. And the next round as well, he'll have 2 extra shield coming in every round afterwards. So it just gets him a lot more wiggle room to work with. And it's not like you're doing meaningful damage to Hu Tao this round regardless.
Yes, but... Right, GRS and pass from Kevin C. Meanwhile, Dosha Bao is going to Tada, gets the macaron to heal back to full, and gets the final point of energy. Now has 3 dice and is going to Lieben it.
Dosha Bao is going to come into next round with an absolute heap load of dice. The question is, though, can we find that Emblem of Severed Fate? I mean, just cycling Hu Tao bursts over onto Kevin Z's Noelle will eventually chunk her down. But finding the the Emblem of Severed Fate would make it so much quicker.
I think there's Adeptus Temptation, and there's the emblem.
Okay.
Oh boy! Kevin C now gets 1 turn.
10
1 turn.
10 damage is the breakpoint. Currently, Noelle is sitting at 11 effective. Kevin needs to be above that breakpoint by the time that burst is ripped out. Which he is currently. Unless I miscalc something. If it does 11, Kevin's a bit cooked.
He's at 11. He's at 10, 13.
Oh no, he's at 13 because he has 2 emblem shields. Oh, I mean, there's the Adeptus. Is Emblem going to come out on top of that?
Is the emblem coming?
Do we consider the emblem? Oh, we don't have any more Mystique soup, and we already ate the food.
Here comes
He ripped out.
the hotel attack. It deals.
Not enough.
Oh, it's not enough.
1 off.
But
normal does 3.
Does Kevin C have the ability to get back?
Well,
to get back at
GRS guarantees Kevin lives another attack.
Yep. That hits for 5. Goes up to 6.
Oh, the healing though is so big. Wait, no, Noel's in breakpoint range. Needs to heal.
Noel's in.
She's in Noel's Greystone range, so if Dosha Bao wants the normal here on Hu Tao, he needs to consume the Matsutanke.
Yes.
This game is so close right now.
Yeah, I think in the end, Venti will come out and defeat the Noel in the end.
Venti only does 2 damage max, so.
Yes, but if he gets a sheep shot in, it might be possible.
Maybe, but you have to consider that Noel gains 2 shield every time she skills, and Venti only does 2 damage. So this Hu Tao needs to be the one to kill the Noel, because she's the only character on Dosha Bao's team that actually does more damage than Noel is able to heal with shields.
Yes, but only on burst.
Well, Normax as well, but yeah.
Yeah.
Has more dice economy thanks to the Liben, though. But what do you do this turn? If we stay on Hu Tao, we risk her going down. So we kind of need to swap.
There's the swap. Yep. Now Kevin C will need to figure out what to do to somehow get back to Hu Tao and defeat her before it's too late.
Alternatively, we could just not. Because Dosha Bao has, at most, 1 action on Hu Tao if he swaps back over. Hu Tao still needs 3 dice to normal attack. She doesn't get a reduction on that, and there's no dice generation left. Both Maos are used, and Dosha Bao doesn't have any other dice generation in the deck. So the correct play from Kevin Z here is, as we see here, probably just a pass. Oh, going for the skill, I think. No, going for normal attack.
Normal attack.
So the pizza should bring her out of breakpoint range. No Macron, so we didn't get the extra charging this turn, and we'll just scale for the enhanced state. And Kevin's completely out of dice.
That's not out of range. Now Hu Tao's burst ready again.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. I think that might be a misplay.
I believe this was a misplay from Oh, it's exactly within range.
No, it's
3
over.
I mean, Dosha Bao wins game 1 through like an amazing Hu Tao carry performance, but it was a bit of a misplay at the end from Kevin Z. In my opinion, the correct play there was just to play the pizza and then pass, maybe throw a strategize in there or something. Because if Do Xiaobao swapped back over onto Hu Tao manually to get the extra 3 damage from a normal attack, it would not have been enough damage to go through all the no shields, and there wouldn't have been enough dice in order to burst. Because he wouldn't need to spend 1 to swap back over. So skill into burst for the extra energy would not have been an available option. And then we could try to go into the next round and maybe top deck an out.
Yeah, on Kevin C's side, if he lets Do Xiaobao switch back, like I think he would actually have a chance, because now he can one-shot the Hu Tao, and then Venti can do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and then like next round as well, if Do Xiaobao insists on staying on Venti, we could just skill stack on him and just charge our shields infinitely. And then like after that, it probably would have been closer. Or at the very least, we would have gotten like 1 extra healing from the pizza, which would have taken us out of the burst breakpoint range, because it will heal an extra additional HP in the end phase. And then we would have also been unsatiated, so we could eat our Mystique Soup to fish for one of the effects to help us reduce damage.
Indeed. That would at least make Kevin C survive a Hu Tao burst next round if needed.
Oh, yeah, we would also have the additional tenacity coming in next turn as well, so just huge misplace from Kevin. We missed out on so much opportunity.
Yeah, I think he's afraid of what I was thinking about, of Do Xiaobao having any dice generation at all, which would mean that he gets defeated this turn anyway. But still, yeah, I don't think defeating Venti was the right choice even after all that.
No, absolutely. It absolutely wasn't, because 5 dice enough for skill in the burst, and Hu Tao, unlike Yoimiya, does gain energy on skill, so it was like a perfect point from skill into burst. It was just a misplay all around from Kevin, because Do Xiaobao realistically had no dice generation left in the deck. The only way they could have gone anything is through the Makashose Hunter or Veteran Visage, which would have required them to eat food, which would have costed dice regardless. So it was either net neutral or net negative in terms of dice gen for Do Xiaobao. I think Kevin just miscalculated the endgame line there, and like as I said, Kevin makes very little mistakes, but when the mistakes come so late into the round, they are so punishing.
Quite. I have seen quite some misplays that have completely flipped the game from a 3v1 to a 0v1.
Yeah, we see it there.
Yep. It is quite something. Like, a little story time for my end. I was playing Ganyu Superconduct, and my opponent defeated my Raiden before she could burst, defeated my Ganyu before she could burst, but left the exact breakpoints for my Keqing to use her elemental burst and defeat all 3 characters at one blow.
I would like to say, Hoyo, if you're listening, can we please change Ganyu back to 1 energy burst? We can talk about my begging later on though, because we have the game 2 decks already selected. Heaven Z going for the freeze mid-range deck that I was talking a little bit about earlier, which unfortunately didn't get to see play game 1. And Do Xiaobao going for a Kachina deck of their very own, this time partnered up with Lini and Navia.
Yes, Kachinavia is one of the more standard Kachina decks. You simply play Lini into Kachina for some double crystallizes, because Kachina also summons you. And then that will play some shrapnels, and then Navia comes out and starts cleaning house with her shrapnels.
Navia can absolutely clean house endgame, does so much damage. Going for double pancreation, this is not something you see every day. Very rarely seen card, usually seen in stall decks. What this card does is you must play it when you have 8 or more dice, and then it'll give 2 cards in the end phase to whoever ends their turn second. Well, it'll technically give the opponent 2 cards whenever whoever ends first. So you can utilize this to gain some extra draw in the middle of the round, but that's very rarely happens. Going as well for the Solace Crackers for extra technique points for even more twirling, as well as the Abundant Philogistine card as well, which will make it so the next time the character uses technique, it doesn't cost any Night Soul points. Sorry, uses Night Soul points, it won't consume it, so just extra twirling on Kachina. Kevin Z on this Kazuha deck as well, using the Sapwood Blade interaction as well. Kazuha Plunge does trigger the Sapwood Blade effect. No Wagner this time though for extra dice generation. Going instead for the standard artifact package with Lyre Song and Gilded Dreams. Only one Herald Tiles left, 2 this time, and Paramagic Transformer, a card we haven't seen in a very, very long time coming out. And the Sacred Flame, what was the exact name for it again?
The
Stadium of the Sacred Flame.
something like that. Also called Stadium.
The Stadium for sure, yeah. So this is also one of the New York cards. It's actually been out for a couple patches now, but it gains stacks every time your characters use skill or techniques, stacking up to 6, in which at max stacks it'll make your active character do +1 damage for 3 rounds. And with how many skills comes out of this deck, and with how many actions it takes, just like Kazuha with the skill into like free swap into the plunge and then Herald being able to get 2 hits on his skill as well. Like, if you get 6 stacks in the stadium, you can absolutely shred through your opponent, but you have to first live through the Kachina twirling.
Indeed. And now the match has started, my friend. Let's see how it is. Right. Start up with the typical Layla start from Kevin C, who's going first this time, and immediately plays countdown into likely some Layla E into Golden House, Kill the Dreams and Pass, probably.
Strategize coming out here. What did we get? Lyre Song.
Timaeus Lysol. That's going into some Gilded Dreams magic package, which
Yeah,
I'm sure we're all familiar with if we played last year.
It's still quite strong right now. It's not nearly as strong. You have less value. The setup is still more or less the same, but you get less dice the second time you dip into the magic package.
Correct. Or at least less dice the second time you dip into the magic package this turn. Right. Let's see what currency considers here. Layla will probably not be defeated by Kachina's FDK style. If we look at Dojabal's hand, that is a draw talent and some ramp food and abundant phlogiston. Which,
that being said, though, if we do skill, it means we don't get to play Timaeus. But if we play Timaeus, we don't really have any other 2-cost card to go pair with him. So it's either skill and then swap to another character to try to outlive Kachina, or Timaeus.
It's
but now he can't
Timaeus Golden
steal.
House into
Yeah,
Gilded
unfortunate.
Dreams. No, it just gives back 2 dice and allows Layla to eat.
Now, ideally, though, you wouldn't need to dip into magic so early. Like, a turn 1 magic never feels good. Typically, it comes out turns 2 or 3, but, I mean, whatever you need to do for your setup, I suppose.
And here we go with Mao into... Sing Your Heart Out. And draws into Pancration, which came by quite a bit too late. And it goes into Linny's Elementals. Linny's Prop Arrow, which is not an elemental skill, but a normal attack.
Yep. I think Pancatration for Kachina is kind of a round 1 card, at least in this matchup, just because Kazuha and Herald have such efficient dice economy that, like, turn 2 onwards, it's very unlikely that you'll be able to end your turn second, especially because Kachina will actually be under threat after turn 2. Whereas turn 1, like, she needs to skill and use techniques, it's very dice efficient, and then you need to do a lot of actions to do your damage, which means it kind of guarantees you the free draw from Pancatration. But after that, it becomes a little more difficult to actually use.
Quite. After round 2, Kevin sees Kazuha and Herald will start acting, which means double action. And that's gonna delay the turn even more.
And it looks like Dochabao agrees with me as well, just instantly tuning Pancatration. If we go for Abundant Phlogiston and tune another, we can get the Kachina talent down as well, but the question is, what do we tune? All these cards are very valuable. You want the Golden Troop onto Navia to just, like, get the 1-cost skill with some Shrapnel. Oh, the Abundant Phlogiston's getting tuned. Curious.
Yep.
I guess Fast Swap is too important in this matchup. It is a freeze one after all.
It's fine. Here, after the first Turbo Twirler hit, Dojabao is going to swap back to Linny, which detaches the technique, and now is going to guarantee a crystallize in the end phase.
Already 6 shrapnel for Navia.
It's the standard line for this deck.
Yeah. I think with the Abundant Phlegistine, you could consider another skill just to get some extra damage going in, but this should be fine as well. Oh, it just draws another one.
Draws
Nice.
another one. Nice. Immediately draws a shrapnel that is going to come in use later. Or perhaps not, depending on the game state.
Something curious about Shrapnel is that it does physical damage instead of piercing damage, which means it interacts with cards like Shield, it interacts with Lotus, and it also interacts with the Serenity effect of Mystique Soup. So, played at the right time can help chunk through a lot of those damage reduction abilities, which normally are so annoying for breakpoints.
Indeed. And as for me, I believe that an important fact about Crystal Shrapnel is that it's the player that deals the damage, not the characters. This means that you can still deal damage with Shrapnel even if your characters are frozen or whatever,
Yeah, that's
which could
correct.
come in handy against a freeze deck like Kevin C has today.
I mean, like, yesterday as well, we saw a Navia matchup into a Zhongli where, like, all of the characters were unable to move. Navia was petrified, and then the Navia player was able to win out by just chucking shrapnel at them.
Indeed. That is might be able to decide another game again today. Will we see a 2-0 sweep from Doshabao? We'll have to wait and see.
Perhaps, perhaps. Right now, though, there's no aura, so Kevin Z's decentivized to go to Kazuha. Really wants to go to Herald to just get some Hydro application going.
Yes.
But might not want to risk his health going down just to a crap load of shrapnel. No, it is Kazuha.
Oh, switches to Kazuha here because after Kazuha uses the Hayaburu, the elemental skill, he gets the prepare action, remember?
Yeah,
and that prepare action is Hydro. Anemo.
It will be Anemo, but yeah.
Yep. So after Hero applies some aura, you can fast swap back to Kazuha, who will auto swirl.
Yeah, and it does count as fast action. He will instantly plunge the next time he's swapped over. Lineage just going for the kill there, chunking 4 HP, heal himself right back up. Does give Kevin Z some stack on the parametric though. But the thing is, if Kevin Z skills onto Kazuha, there's not enough dice to get. Oh no, there's actually no, it's fine because he has emblem. No, everything's okay.
Yep, everything seems to be okay because he's going pretty much all in with the magic package right now. Yep, replaces the Gilded Dreams that was yanked back from using Lyre Song.
I was a bit worried for Kevin Z's parametric transformer here, but all thanks to our good friend Magic, it guarantees him enough actions to drop that right back up. The Sapwood Blade equipped as well, so the next time he swaps over to Kazuha, not only will be a fast plunge attack directly with Anemo Infusion, it should guarantee a Hydro Swirl as well, and also give Kevin Z 2 more dice to work with, thanks to the Sapwood Blade effect, where the first normal attack you do in a round after equipping it will give you 2 aligned dice to whatever character is equipped to.
Indeed. Still, we must consider what Dojabao is going to do next. He's going to switch back to Kachina again, despite the apparent lack of aura on Herald.
Looks like we're doing some twirling.
Yep, it's trolling time.
It's twirling time. Ooh, Mystic Soup as well. What effects do we get?
But before that, Mystic Soup.
Which effect is this?
Third effect? That's...
Oh, it's the -1 damage times 3.
Yep. That means it's more effective against decks that damage multiple times, like Kevin C does here.
It's a Shrapnel too, very nice.
Shrapnel number 2.
If we go back into Kazuha, I believe he should live on 1 HP because we aren't buffed by the twirly field from Kachina's Burst. It should only do 2 damage base plus 1 from the Crystallize, which means Kazuha will live on 1 HP. But do we want to risk our Kazuha going so low so early? Kevin Z doesn't have that much healing in the deck, if at all.
It might be worth it. It might.
Maybe.
Hmm.
A lot of our damage is being reduced, though. And Kazuha's the brunt of our damage in this deck. We're really reliant on him to just get constant plunges. And powered with a Sapwood Blade. Is already very,
Personally,
very low.
I do think we go to Kazuha here because after Kazuha plunges, Layla's Night Star will activate.
Okay, but here's the big brain play from Dojabao. We play the Overflowing Philogistine, we get the Twirl off, and then we throw the wait, no, Shrapnel into skill is lethal. Because, oh no, it's not dice production, it's no Night Soul point consumption. I'm getting them confused. There's so many different stacks to keep track of, that's my bad. We're 1 dice short here.
Yep. You're thinking about Source Crackers.
I am thinking of Source Crackers.
Which? That's Source Crackers.
Coming a bit late. That's unfortunate.
Yep. If that had come earlier, Kevin C would have done with a sure loss.
Hey, you know what would have made this come earlier? Pancatration turn 1.
You're right. But Pancration also come late by 1 action.
That's true. A double freeze onto both Lily and Navia, but it just doesn't matter. Because Dojabao just doesn't have dice.
That feels like desperation to me. The double freeze does absolutely nothing right now.
But like then again, Kevin Z realistically didn't have anything to play for. Like maybe you skill again on Herald, but if you don't go Kazuha, you waste the extra dice generation from the Sapwood Blade. And like, oh, what is this?
Oh,
what are we going
Unseen Racer?
I don't know what we're doing. Kazuha. Does Kazuha have Plunge Infusion? He does.
Yes, he does.
Okay. Wait, hold on.
Re-equips the Sapwood Blade. Going to go back. Plunges. That's 3 damage. Gets back 2 dice. And now...
Need to tune 1. What do we tune here?
Oh!
What do we tune here?
I think we tune the countdown.
Probably, yeah.
Or the other Sapwood Blade. I think the other Sapwood Blade is kind of useless now.
If we burst, Kachina is going to go down, and we have double Hydro, and in which case next turn we can Herald skill for double freeze.
Tuning Sing Your Heart Out. I guess you don't need that much draw then.
Oh, you also have Countdown. They both cost the same, and then one of them doesn't satiate all your characters. Skill or Burst here, Kevin. Skill or Burst?
I think skill is always... Yeah. Oh!
I'm actually down for Burst. Hear me out. Because Burst makes it so Kachina goes down, right? We don't need to worry about Turbo Twirly anymore. And additionally, both of the other characters have Cryo on them. Kazuha tanks a hit, and then Herald just perma-freezes the entirety of next turn. Yes, there is Shrapnel.
Yes!
But Dojabao only has 6 Shrapnel. Which isn't enough.
Yeah, 6 Shrapnel isn't enough to deal with the Herald, who has 3 plus 4 HP. So
Kevin Z has a total of I think 10 HP across his characters and the revive.
I think there's a total of 9 Shrapnels in Dojabao's deck from 3.
Was there another Crystallize that I missed?
Maybe.
Yeah, you're right, because there was an additional Crystallize on Kazuha. It is 9 Crystallize.
Yeah, but that will be foiled by the Shrapnel defeating the Kazuha right away.
Wait, we have no fast swap on Kevin. We need to gamble. If we go Herald, we need to gamble that Dojabao doesn't have 3 more Shrapnel or won't draw into 3 Shrapnel in a row. But if we go into Layla, we don't have a fast swap, so we can't guarantee the freeze. It's gambling time, boys. Okay, I guess not.
No, if you use Linie Burst here, then after Herald goes on to freeze the field, then you gamble for Shrapnel.
I kind of like the play where we just gamble for Shrapnel now, because it's technically less HP, and then... Oh, wait, no, because we didn't have enough damage to do 4 damage to Herald anyways. No, it's fine. Yeah, this is fine.
Yeah. Unless we want to gamble for 4.
Or we gamble for Mystique Soup.
Mystic Soup for Fury. My man.
I think the play was better. The funny play to instantly win us the game, by the way, was to gamble for 3 Shrapnel into Mystique Soup plus 2 damage. which I am so down for. It's
Yeah.
like half of Doshabao's deck at this point is Shrapnel, so it's not even that bad. And then you just need to
Right.
gamble for the 50-50 on getting the Fury effect.
Hmm.
It's not even that bad.
It's not that bad, my friend. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad, said every gambler ever. The odds are in my favor.
Here's
Oh,
a quick
this is
swap.
fast swap.
Oh, right. There's a fast
Okay,
swap.
it didn't matter.
We somehow forgot about the quick swap.
I completely forgot about it. I was so focused on the gamble play because it's just so funny. Okay, now Kevin doesn't win this.
Yeah, that's the end. There is absolutely nothing that's going to come back from this.
Even gambling won't save Kevin Z.
There's not enough dice to do the gambling.
No,
That's
there's just physically not enough damage, and then Doshabao with another skill will always have enough in order to eliminate Kevin Z. I'm surprised Doshabao didn't actually draw into more Shrapnel after that Navia skill. Like, half his deck has got to be Shrapnel at this point.
I mean, the deck's still aplenty, and generating shrapnel isn't that fast when you're actually piloting the deck. Like, Anyway, here comes the Night Shield.
Gamble for Fury, no! They would have won us the game on the spot. I mean, we're still winning the game regardless. I don't think Lila Carey is even close to competitive.
Quite.
I'm so sad. My dreams are thwarted.
The feet try to cut off, saying there's nothing to be done here. Regardless, the match continues.
But yeah, no, I think we already know that the result of this game by now. Like, Doshabao will take in a very convincing 2-0. I will say, though, that Kevin Z should have won game 1. I feel like Noel could have actually taken the game there. And he also got a bit unlucky on the tenacity, because he drew it very late into the match, wasn't able to use the extra HP to spread out the Hu Tao damage. Regardless, though, a misplay is a misplay, a loss is a loss. Kevin Z will go out 2-0, or sorry, 0-2 in the elimination stage.
Yep. Going to play all those cards. And now comes the ultimate Elemental Burst. And the final action for Kevin C in this tournament.
Gamble for Fury, no!
Nope, Shrapnel for game. Gets Navia talent! That's such a show-off finish, oh my god.
Congratulations for Doshabao beating Kevin Z, the honored one, in a very, very convincing 2-0 game. Picked the correct decks for the matchup and just played their heart out as well. I do believe Kevin Z had an angle for a comeback, but in this situation, it just was not meant to be.
Yes, the results speak for themselves, and Doshabao has bested Kevin C in the AstraNox Invitational.
What do we think of that match, Summation? I think it was a banger one. I do wish we saw a game 3. I think it would have been an entertaining matchup. We did get to see all of their decks, though, except for one, but I think I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's the disappointing part with 2-0. You do not get to see how much they have their decks figured out. I especially wanted to see that Muna deck.
I'm just sad I didn't get to see my Gamble line playing out. Gamble for draw 1 Shrapnel into 50-50 for Fury would have been so funny. Regardless, the fast swap guaranteed we won the game. I completely missed that in the hand because I just really want to see the Gamble line play out. But either way, congratulations to Doshabao for setting himself up for that situation in the first place. He played very well.
Yeah, I was also looking at the Gamble line. Like, look, the Shrapnel would be extremely funny.
Because there was gamblers on Linny! Come on! Spent 1 dice for it, might as well make it pay off, you know?
Yep. And after that, that would mean that, like... Let's see, like, what do we think about that Noel play again? Like, wait.
Honestly, I think just passing was the correct idea. Yeah, we had 3 dice. It doesn't feel great, but I realistically speaking, I think Kevin had no choice. Because 5 dice, skill into burst, as we saw, just instantly won dosha out of the match. Because, like, lethaling Venti there gives him a free swap as well. If we didn't kill Venti there, next turn we would have our Tenacity shields charged up, we would get to skill again on Noelle, right? We'd have +1 dice for Tenacity again, because that'd be reset. We'd have another Mao stack to worry about, because we have Pizza again in our hand to get even more dice. It's like, I feel like 10 times out of 10, we just skip our turn there, and then force Doshap out to spend the dice.
Yeah, regardless, that was the match. And now we will reconvene at a later time for the second match of today. Tadano Megane versus Steel.
Yeah, we'll throw to a break right now, but don't worry, we are going to be right back with even more exciting gameplay.
ウィンドブルーム祭の本番がもうすぐ始まるぞ。早く見に行こうぜ。
どう？よかったでしょ？
旅人いらっしゃい。シバルマラン AA ランドファミリーに加わる準備はできた？グルメ系 AA に出てくるみたいな超豪華なご飯も欲しいぜ。
両選手準備ができたようですね。それではホテルドゥボール特別料理対決開始。
カトラリーの準備も完了。冷凍の時間よ。最高の一品よ。
とにかくそこのレストランからナタ産の野菜を至急調達したいと依頼を受けて僕とイファが来ることになったんだ。
俺は付き添いでな。さあ行くぞ。おっと逃がすかよ。
月始めの3日間、飛行物を連れて外出してはいけないらしい。
参ったな。
ここは昔レムリア時代に建てられた公衆浴場で、確かモデストの秘典に書いてあったような気がするわ。
真の偉大なり蛮族滅びよ。
古竜の時代の謎の遺物、それに俺がフォンテーヌに来た理由を合わせて考えれば、例の密輸事件の捜査を逃れたものかもしれない。
僕の師匠にして母の黄金レインドットさ。彼女が僕をモンドに向かわせた時、ある大きな課題を与えたんだ。世界の真相を探せというね。
なんで街の中に魔物がいるんだ？想像してたよりも状況がひどいみたい。
また敵が来るぞ。
本件の被告人セピロス騎士団調査小隊隊長アルベド。
何をしたんだ？殺人事件？
ホムンクルスが暴走して理性を失い他者を傷つける狂気的な行動に走る。
魔女会と正式な会談を行うことを願ってるんだ。
あら、そんな勇気のある子がまだモンドにいたの？
天地が逆さになった時、人は世界の本質を知る。なら盤面が逆さになったら、
なぜ罪のない人を。
どうしてこんなことに。ウィレットが襲撃にあって。
これはレムリアが戦争のために用意した薬物なのよ。人体研究という課題を諦めたことは一度もない。モンドの法律にのっとり被告人アルベドを殺人および死体遺棄で有罪とする。
今も
近くから聞こえるよ。
お、なんだ、バルバトスか？
ファルか？
当群星低语，当夜幕垂落，命运的轮盘已悄然转动。八面灵头折射智慧锋芒，牌中事件在掌心翻动。盾与矛在星河下碰撞，元素交织成战略的罗网。这里没有注定的败者，唯有将星辰轨迹铭刻于卡背的译者。准备好掷出命运的骰子了吗？
When you create a new dish, all the ingredients have to work in harmony, like cogs in a machine. Oh, here's a better analogy. It's like composing a symphony from musical notes. Sweet and sour with a refreshing aftertaste. But then... How about a gastronomic symphony?
本当にいいの？このまま始めて。いいの。
これぞリアリティよ。どこのポートで取ってきたポータフートリップ？発酵ジュースの海？全国の発酵ジュースに謝りなさい。
発酵ジュースごめんなさい。
ちょっとヒルチャールの盾よりも硬いじゃない。またフライヤーをほったらかしにしてたわね。あなたは一体何様なの？
俺は鳥頭のフライドフィッシュです。
サバナ、なぜこんな生地に？フリュイロータス入りだなんて花と実が大雨に降られたみたい。
失敗しすぎて丸ごとそう使い切ってしまって、それしかなかったの。
まあまるっきりダメってわけじゃないわ。水分が多いから他のお花や果実の香りが薄れちゃうのよ。かといって乾かすと食感が台無しになる。だから遠心機で旨味を抽出して生成すれば。新鮮でまるで雨上がりの虹のよう。草や湖が見えるみたい。古いロータスの風味が完全に溶け合ってて最高。早くレシピを完成させなきゃ。今日の授業はここまで。やっと。あ、明日はこのデザートを再現してみましょう。たったの43工程。簡単よね。どう？フォンテーヌグルメ編のイントロとしては悪くないでしょ？
リアリティは置いといて確かに印象深いわね。ただエスコフィエさんが主演なのはいいけど途中までが少し強烈すぎるんじゃない？いくら盛り上げるためとはいえ。
Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting round of the AstraNox Invitational. We're going to hop into match 2 very shortly, but before that, there's a message from our sponsors.
This tournament is sponsored by Shining Soul. We'd like to let all travelers and duelists know that the second set of the Shining Soul Genius Invocation TCG card set is now officially on sale. You can purchase the brand new in-stock cards at the official Genshin Impact store or Shining Soul official store on Taobao. Collect the Genius Invocation TCG cards, gather your friends, and let the duels begin. AstraNox Invitational is exclusively sponsored by Shining Soul.
Yes, and I cannot wait to get my hands on some of those nice physical cards. The dice in particular look really pretty, by the way. I always like my shiny math rocks.
Yeah, from what I heard from actual buyers of the physical CCG, those metal dice are pretty much more like decorations, but still they look really, really nice.
You know, I have a set of metal dice just like for other tabletop games, and they feel really nice. They look really pretty as well.
Once I get the budget for it, I might actually try to buy some for myself.
Oh, they even have like the deck box as well. That's cool.
Yeah, set 2 comes with merchandise such as deck boxes and card backs, which includes the Prince of card packs for like the silver version. They're available now.
I guess they're gonna gatekeep the gold version until they have an in-person event and then give 30 sleeves to the winner. Oh, no, it'll be 33 because you need it for the character cards too.
Yes. And I don't know, when it comes to like those sleeves, I think you might want to give them more than one set. Just like,
yeah, okay, make it 66. They have enough for 2 decks.
Yeah, 66 sounds nice. Maybe make it a round number, like 50 or 60. That would make it fit for one deck, but now they can sideboard.
Maybe, but we don't really have sideboarding in the game, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, we'll have to see how physical TCG tournament rules shape up in the future.
I suppose I was operating under the assumption that it would be the same as the online version. Regardless, though, here are the rules for our tournament. Players will need to submit 3 decks in advance featuring 9 unique character cards. Players must submit 3 decks each, considering 30 action cards, which is, just standard deck build. And the game physically won't let you play with a deck if it doesn't meet the in-game requirements. And then before the match, both decks will be shared to the opponents. It'll be open deck list conquest format, which means both players will know what their opponents have, and they will play with a deck until they win or until they are knocked out. When you win with a deck, you will no longer be able to play it for the rest of the series.
Yep, and best of 3 means you win 2 rounds, you get to go to the next round. Right, and for our matchup, we have first Tadano Megane.
He's the
Busan, the Busan
WCG Busan runner-up, yeah.
Yeah. He also came 3rd in Catsail Gathering Season 1. And glasses. Megane means glasses. Just note. Acroman here. Glasses are indeed very versatile.
well, we'll need to see if he lives up to the moniker of Aggro Man. Tadano Megane also showed up in the Prince Cup Pacific. I do not believe he made it to the live stage, but had a pretty good performance in the online portion.
Yes, a lot of these players have tried their hands at Prince Cup before. Whether they go to the online stage or not, they've all had some decent performances. Right, for our second player, Dio, the Prince Cup Pacific runner-up, and who started playing GITCG in version 3.7. He is
rather late for competitor. I mean, as a reminder, GITCG was first released in version 3.4, so this is 3 patches after that. I think Shenmue SC was like already the best deck by the time that came in. 3.3, sorry, not 3.4. Ganyu SC was already nerfed into oblivion by then, my goat. Please revert Ganyu to 2 energy burst, that's all I want.
That is certainly something any Ganyu player wants. Right, and for our matchup, the players have picked their first deck, and it's Kajinavir versus Fremine Freeze.
Oh, bring back Mirror Maiden. As a reminder, for those of you who do not know the history of Mirror Maiden, this card has been through a lot. Used to be like probably the best Hydra character in the game, got her skill nerfed to only do 2 damage, and then now in one of the most recent patches got buffed right back to 3 damage, and also the talent got moved to like a base effect of the skill, where swapping now costs +1 dice, and so Mirror Maiden is seeing lots of play again. With a 5 damage burst, 8 if you combine it with Adeptus, this card deals crazy damage, and now with the buff as well, it like nerfs your opponent's card economy by a lot.
Indeed. For Tadano Megane's deck, it is a standard Kajinavia deck with 2 Navia talents and 2 Kachina talents. That is a lot of talents.
Also running the double penetration and some of the turn 1 tech cards. Dio, though, running some of the cards we haven't seen in a long time. Mamao being thrown in for some extra Gamba, the Fremine talent, a Tarumaru. These are all cards that lets you get one of cards that you don't normally play in your deck because the Mega Overlord Sword, which will deal +1 damage for every... Well, I think it's stacked, so it'll do +1 damage if you have enough cards that were not originally in your deck appear in your hand.
It's when you play cards that are not in your deck. And the Melusine engine, which composes of Mamir, Serene, and several other cards, can generate cards that do not appear in your decks, or maybe not in your card list at all.
Running Scound's the Canopy as well, which also buffs your deck if you have cards that were not originally in your deck in your hand as well, so we're just going all in. Also running Extreme as well to just yoink things to the opponent's hand and also get cards that were not originally in your deck in your hand. And I mean, if the opponent was running the same cards, that's good, because you want those anyways.
Indeed.
I don't know what that food card does though. What is that?
More card for me. I believe you're just... Oh, that's Puff Pops. You play it and then you get 3 usages of... The next time you play a card that's not in your deck, heal 1 HP.
Damn, so we are just going all in for the stealing cards angle. Just playing cards not in our deck.
Yes, it is a strategy based on your luck and your opponent's deck.
I love gambling. I'm down.
Considering the opponent is Kachinavia, Dio is going to get some extremely aggressive cards from them.
Ooh, you know what would be really funny? Dio goes first right now, has Extreme in hand, plays it instantly first action, and just steals double Navia talent, and then Tadano Megane cries.
Ha! That's
Open Steve.
Open Steve. Let's see.
Imagine double Kachina talent was in there as well, and then Tadano Megane just really copes and sees.
I'm not sure how much the double Navia talent actually factors in for the general Kajinavia line.
What does Tadano Megane do though? Oh wait, we're tuning. Why are we tuning? I swear we had enough cards regardless.
Yeah, why are we tuning? maybe choose the one copy of Navia Talent so that Dio will not get the cards.
He has Extreme. Dio has Extreme. Play it. Steal that Navia talent. Make Tada no Megane cope and seethe.
Yeah, the thing about that is, I
what does that
think
do?
Tadano Mekane was trying to set up for that. This is Sleepy Meditation. It lets you select one of 3 technique cards to add to your hand. And the next time you play a technique card, it costs 2 less dice.
Oh, not playing Extreme. Okay, I guess we're saving it for later. Shame.
Yes. Extreme doesn't actually matter that much right now when your opponent's hand is low and they're probably going to go do some setup stuff that doesn't require their cards. The extreme angle here is likely to disrupt the opponent's setup, which might not work that well against Kachinabe.
Yeah, because Kachinavi just has so much more dice economy than you. Oh, wait, they played Judgment. Why did they play Judgment? Dio has no dice. No, seriously, why did they? Dio actually just has no dice.
Yeah, why did they?
Is it worrying about a Yoinkosaurus into Saurus Crackers, which I don't think Dio has?
No, it's open deck, and I don't think Megane runs Yumkasaurus, right?
No, but it's a technique, isn't it? From Sleepy Meditation? Could have gotten it from that.
No, the card that Dio obtained from Sleepy Meditation was Tepetli-saurus.
Yeah, but, I mean, Megane doesn't know that. But either way, Dio doesn't have dice to use Yoinkosaurus regardless. I am very confused about this. I don't understand.
No, it's Dio playing Judgment against...
Oh, Dio played Judgment.
Megane.
I thought Megane played Judgment. What am I doing?
Yeah, it's Dio who plays down the status on Megane's side.
Wait, it's to deny Covenant. That actually makes sense. Oh no,
Yeah,
it's swap regardless.
Yeah, just swap Navia and then get your crystallizers out. The swap to Navia was irregular, but it's probably to avoid the swirl from the serpent.
That does make sense. Curious about that Judgment.
Oh, here it comes. Dio has drawn into a copy of Ultimate Overlord's Mecha Magic Sword.
Yeah, funny Melusine sword. Doesn't have the Melusines yet, and Fremine does take a little bit of time to charge up.
Yeah, and has not played any cards outside of his deck yet. But it's going to be soon. Signs of the Canopy and Lieben should probably go down right now, as well as Leave It To Me. You're essentially trying to play your whole hand right now and then Extreme immediately. That way you can...
Oh, that's one. Dilophosaurus is being
That's
played as
one.
well.
No, that's...
I guess we're just going to use Tapalosaurus instead of the skill, because Tapalosaurus gives us draw, right? Just like Serpent skill does, but this also...
Here comes Extreme. In the name of the Extreme.
Big. Navia Talent is gone.
Navia Talent is gone, Covenant is gone, Pancration is gone, and Boar Princess is gone.
Boar Princess is actually pretty big.
Only half gone. There's another copy in the deck.
Well, that's true, but Dio doesn't have Boar Princess, and Boar Princess as well lets him sacrifice his characters, especially Serpent, and just gain the dice.
Yeah. And now the Petlisaurus lets you draw 2 cards while paying 2 dice, and if there's any cards that do not belong to your deck, it gains 2 shield. Basically, it quickly draws through your cards so you can access more of your Melusine engine. Speaking of Melusines, there are not any.
Yeah, but Scions of the Canopy already at 2 stacks. What does this give him? Let me go check real quick.
Signs of the Canopy, when you play a card that does not belong to your deck, gives back 1 Omni dice as long as that card's cost is more than the stacks on the Canopy.
Well, the Canopy is eventually going to get less and less value as the stacks climb higher, but that's fine. Dio just needs it for the early generation of the Mega Overlord Sword.
Yep, it's to allow you to play cards that do not belong to your deck easier. Here
Well,
comes the
speaking
Puff
of,
Pops and ends the turn.
I was got Treasure in here as well for even more outside deck generation. But Kachina sitting at 7 dice, no Covenant, but is well within twirling range. Also has the Overflowing Phlegistine as well, so Tidi and Megane can twirl for ages.
1, 2. Yep, that's a lot of twirls. That's
a lot
1
of
and
twirls.
4 and 2. After all the twirls, Megane will be burst ready, and the Serpent will be 6 HP down. So that's back to 3 HP for it.
I'm too lazy to do the math for that. Thank you for doing that for me. The question here for Megane, though, is that do we want to use all our dice to twirl, or do we perhaps prefer to use some of it to go to Linny to generate more shrapnel for Navia?
Apparently, one's going to strategize.
Oh, double Overflowing Phlegistine.
And
Not
it's
gonna
going to
play it,
use
though.
precisely none of them.
I don't think we have a free swap remaining, unfortunately, so we can't go to Linny, so we're just going to use the rest of our dice to twirl. Should play one Overflowing Phlegistine, though. That will guarantee to use the loss of our 2 dice to get 2 more twirls off.
Yes, that might be best. I
think-
can't think of any other use, actually.
I think the correct play is to play at least one, right? Because we have 2 dice remaining. We're not going to use that 2 dice for anything else. So we might as well use it to get 2 twirls off, guaranteed. Surely.
Right. Yep. Let's see.
We're thinking about something, but what are we thinking about?
I cannot tell. Maybe it's some sort of Mystic Soup related shenanigans, or might wanna play the Geores early? Nope. Here comes the Phlogiston.
We're twirling. Oh, the damage
We're
is onto Fremine as well due to Dio's character order, which is actually really important.
Oh,
because Fremine
besides-
is the
yep.
main carry of this deck.
Yep, here we go. Equips Heart of Coronas Brilliance and then ends the round.
Okay. Dio's got turn
Kachinabia.
prio. Kachinabia. We twirl, and it really hurts. Please help.
Yep. Ow.
Well, I mean, Dio has turn prio right now. Unfortunately has... Oh no, gotta reroll. We're fine. Has more usable dice than before. One of his characters is 1 HP. The other is within shrapnel range for Navia, who thankfully does not have talent because we yoinked it. Let's go.
Yeah. Navia is out of talents in the deck right now, but does have exactly 1 shrapnel.
True.
Who knows where that 1 shrapnel might go? For example, maybe it's straight into the Serpent's head.
Perhaps. The unfortunate thing for Tada no Megane, though, is that there's only 3 shrapnel total in the deck because we only managed to get off 1 crystallize. So even if we are able to kill Serpent with the shrapnel, and then Dio, for some reason, goes over onto Fremine, there wouldn't be enough... Actually, no, there'd just be barely enough shrapnel remaining to actually lethal him, because Navia's skill does 3 base. But we'd have to draw into another shrapnel somehow regardless, which doesn't look possible right now. Unless...
When in doubt, just start trolling again.
True. Nothing right now really threatens Kachina, and there's no aura on her either, so it's not like Dio can get a freeze off.
Here it comes.
Back to twirling. Wait, with the shrapnel as well. It's shrapnel into twirl does 3 damage, which would give a Gambler's Reset, which
no,
Tada no Megane just top decked.
Turbo Trolley is not attached until now.
Well,
now Serpent's
now
not
it
in
will.
Q range. Yep.
It's twirling
Let's
time.
see what Dio does. That Consecrated Energy block might come in handy right about now.
The thing is, Dio's actually in a really tough state because, well, if he goes over to Mirror Maiden, it gives more shrapnel to Tada no Megane, but if you go over to Fremine, you risk a lethal, assuming Tada no Megane has 3 shrapnel. Because you can fast up Navia's skill, which would be enough, but we're just burning through all of our cards here.
Here comes Energy block.
Overlord Sword.
Overlord Sword gets some stacks and hits back. Now you get Countdown 2. Rarity in this deck.
Oh, this also counts as a card not in your deck, because Countdown 2 is not Countdown 3, and Countdown 3 is the one you actually get to put in at the start of the game.
Yes.
Countdown 2, 1, and 0 are all technically different cards.
Yes. They are all different cards, and all of them.
Oh, there's a
count.
Kushida talent. No, I'm not playing it though.
No.
No need to use shrapnel either. We just burst. Nice.
Yep, we just burst.
Got full energy.
I
didn't even
think
realize.
I think Megan is confident now that he does not need that draw.
Well, I mean, Fremne, I think that's 2 stacks on the Mega Overlord's Magic Sword right now. But is it enough to win?
It's either 2 or 4. I do not remember.
I also don't remember. I think it's probably closer to 4, actually, now that you mention it.
Yeah, I think 4 is like the natural state of Mega Magic Sword. Going for 8 is kind of pushing it.
I think 4 gives plus 2 damage. 6 would be 3, and then 8 is 4. But I don't think we're getting to 8. We might get to 6, but it should be a plus 2 damage right now.
8 is plus 3. There's no 6.
Oh, there's no 6. Never mind.
Yep. It's 2, 3, 8 for. I mean, it's 2 for 8 for plus 1, plus 2, plus 3 damage.
Yeah, I mean, shows what I know about the game right now. I am so washed.
Yeah, it has been a while. Don't worry, you'll get it back with time and experience.
Fremne thinks those treasures, though, are now at a very healthy 9 HP. A reminder, though, treasure only heals characters once per round now, instead of infinitely like before, as long as you have the card.
Yep. At least Dio actually draws the treasure, which means that Mega Magic Sword is definitely at 4 stacks now.
As confirmed right there, it deals 4 damage. Fremne's skill does 2 base damage, so now that does 4. We can guarantee that it is at plus 2 damage on the Mega Overlord Sword, which means it's at the very least 4 stacks. I don't believe the game tracks the stacks. You have to do that yourself, so good luck, Dio.
It actually tracks it on the card's status page.
Oh, it does? Okay. I know some of the cards don't track stacks.
They all changed to track stacks after Mega Magic Sword came out because it got really hard to track stacks on everything.
Okay.
So now
that
Jet has it, Stove has it, and Mega Magic Sword has it.
Yeah, I know it was like before it was kind of hard to track stacks for like cards like End of the Line as well as Rightful sometimes because you just lose track. There's so many things to look at. Tadano Megane is running out of cards, but also Dio has no dice. Oh, has the free swap from earlier. Nice, nice. Okay, we're sacking Maiden here.
That is definitely the correct choice. Regardless, we'll have to see if that's enough to stop the trolling.
Well,
before it's too late.
It might not be. More shrapnel into the deck.
Yep, more shrapnel.
Should be another skill going down because we played the Overflowing Phlegistine.
Right, and
you know, fun fact here. Tadano Megane will be 1 dice. We'll have 1 extra dice at the end phase. Before he's just twirled, he could have played the Mystique Soup, gambled for the Fury plus 2 damage, and then probably would have just won the game. Because it would have one-shot, and then you would get 2 damage onto the Fremine.
Unfortunately, Technic cards do not receive character damage buffs.
Oh, I guess because they're not counted as skill damage. That does make sense.
Yes. So it would have to be effects that actively increase the opponent's damage taken. For example, the new card Dispatch, Shilonen. Which
your caster's washed. I don't even know my card interactions anymore. This is crazy.
It's fine. We'll get it back eventually. Which, speaking of Shilonen, there's absolutely 0 for...
Wait, I forgot Kajina had Gamblers. We don't even need the Fury effect. We just twirl to win.
Yep, that's the twirl to win, and Megane takes game 1.
Honestly, I think this was Megane's game to take regardless of what happened. Dio picked a very bad matchup because Kachina is an aggro deck that just likes to go full throttle and just kill you. Dio picked a deck that needs more time to set up. And, well, while you're setting up, you're not putting pressure onto your opponent, which means Kachina can just twirl on you.
Yeah, the problem with that is that Fremine is kind of more equipped to deal with Megane's other 2 decks. If you saw from the deck preview, we'll get to that later.
Well, the
But
good news about Conquest format, though, is that you can play decks if you lose, but not if you win.
yeah, so Megane is now locked out of Kachina. The Kachina quota is now over for Megane for this match.
For now. Dio
For
can
now.
still play it, though. I
Yep,
saw one there,
Dio
too.
brought his own Kachina, yeah.
It's
We'll
rolling
have-
time.
If Femine can actually counter one of those two decks, then it would be Dio's turn to most definitely bring out Kachina and try to win the game that way.
Well, I'd have to take a look at the deck selection screen again, but both of those other decks looked a lot slower pace. Looking here, we have like a Zhongli Kokomi stall deck. I mean, Chiori is able to put some early pressure out with the summons, especially if you get talent. But the Amorite, the Pyro Amorite plus Chlorhein and Sijuin deck is very slow. It's a setup deck. It's about getting dice advantage and setting up Chlorhein for just an absolute barrage of attacks. But it does take time to really get going, and so does the Zhongli deck, even though Chiori is able to put some pressure out. So they are a lot slower paced. It should buy time for Dio to set up on Fremine and just stack the Mega Overlord Sword to all the way to +8. The other hand, though, the deck I want to see from Dio is this Signora deck. We haven't seen her in a while, and playing her with Chiori is kind of exciting. I think both of those characters are really fun to watch.
Yep, it's a more aggressive version of the Kokomi deck, but instead of the healing to make Zhongli reach the threshold, it's actually just dealing dot and crystallize using Signora, and using the shield to offset the damage from the opponent.
Oh, also, another thing, I didn't know if you noticed last game, but Navia's talent wasn't gold. It was like a prismatic color. This patch
Yes.
introduced a new tier to card cosmetics, by the way. It is like a diamond/platinum/prismatic, depending on what term you want to use or what other card games you come from, but it costs double the amount of coins as the gold card back.
It's lustrous skin, and my god, it's expensive.
It's so
Right.
it costs 8k for the character cards, and you need to spend 4k on the gold version before you even get the chance to purchase it. So that's 12k per lustrous skin.
For reference, it's 1 week you get 6k. Anyway, the players have chosen their decks, and now we'll take a look at it.
Yep.
Right.
This is the Chiori deck. This is like always very exciting to look at. Thunder and Eternity got reworked a while back, so I need to go take a look at what it does again. But running Chiori talent and the Zhongli talent with Yoinkosaurus, my goat, to steal cards. Running another talent as well. What is that food card? Curious to see what that does. And a lot of like other standard stalls things. We have the Stormterror's Lair to just guarantee we get our talents. 2 of them ideally, so we can get both. Running Strategize and Countdown as well for some card draw. So leave it to me as always, just the tech into the freeze matchup. Geo-Res with the new buff, it gives you so much survivability, and the Thunder and Eternity, just make sure we have good dice we want to steal on Zhongli.
Right. And as for the cards you didn't know, Thunder and Eternity is now adjusted to convert all your dice to Omni Element. The food you mentioned is Hot Spring O'Clock. It heals 1 HP for each of your summons on the field. So that's a maximum of +4.
And Shuri always spawns 2 summons, so that's like a hash brown minimum, and then usually you'll have a Zhongli player as well, so that's just a Lotus amount of healing. And it's permanent, which is great.
It's really great. And for Dio's part, it's standard Kachinavia.
It's swirling time.
It's swirling time. With only 2 gamblers and 2 golden troop.
No Cavarinas in this deck.
No Quarina.
Everything
Outside of
also
that,
looks fairly standard for a Kachina list. They have, because you don't run the Cavarina, we have an extra Source Cracker in there as well. We're down 1 Overflowing Phlegestein though, which is curious. Last game we saw Megane make absolute use out of that. I got so much value out of it. So we need to see how this goes. I will say though that I believe this matchup is not nearly as bad for Megane as it was for Dio in game 1. Just because Chiori outputs so much pressure with her summons that it might force Dio off Kachina just by itself.
Indeed.
Also, it's a stall deck, so it will run out of gas pretty quickly, and then Megane should be able to just sustain through it with the Geo Rises, with the Spring O'Clock, and the other healing. Oh, there it is, the Lustrous skin. Wait, Churi Talent is 4 now? I thought it was 3. I guess it got nerfed.
It got
Unfortunate.
nerfed.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
makes sense.
Theory
It's such a
was
smart
kind
talent.
of kind of overwhelming when she first started.
By the way, I
So-
know you need to play win 10 games on a character to get the gold card back. How many does it require to get the lustrous one for the talent?
It's 30.
30. Wow, they just tripled it.
Yep. It's like you play 10 and then you play another 20. Basically double, like the same as the
Well, actually.
lucky coins. Yep. Here comes there goes the single heart out. Draws 3, gets 2 free swaps. That's
That's
always
perfect
the
dice as
standard.
well. Look at that.
Yep.
Oh, we don't actually have enough to swap. Oh, no. Senior Heart gets you a free swap. Never mind. Yeah, so we do have enough to go twirl twice with Covenant as well as the Kachina talent as well.
Yep. Right, on the mechanic side, plays Stormter's Lair, gets just the Zhongli talent from the deck, the last one that's needed, and immediately places down the talent, and now Zhongli is ready to roll.
Yeah, so for those of you who do not know what Zhongli talent does, if your Zhongli is at least 7 HP, Zhongli and Geo damage from summons will be getting a +1 damage buff, which is huge, because keep in mind, Chiori will always have 2 talents on field, and Zhongli also has a summon of his own.
Yep, so that's 3 summons that are Geo on the field, so that's +3 damage every turn, which is super devastating if you're not careful.
Also,
Right.
TDM Megane has the Yoinkosaurus talent in hand. For those of you who do not know what this does, when you use the talent, it will do 1 physical damage and also steal 1 random card of the highest original dice cost from your opponent. So, if Tadano Megane times it right, we can yoink a Navia talent.
Yes, it's actually a technique, right?
Sorry,
and
technique.
Yep. Right, so it's now in Dio's ballpark to just throw once, throw twice. No, throw
I
once.
think it's twirl 1 to swap, as the
Yep,
standard
throw
line
once and swap.
dictates.
Yeah, it's the standard. I was just thinking about how to use that extra dice, and it goes to the Kachina talent to draw an extra 2 cards this turn.
There'll be just already 3 Shrapnel being chucked into Dio's deck, which is always nice, stacking up our Navia early. You know, the hardest part about Navia decks in the early days was just how to get Shrapnel. It was so frustrating, but it feels like players have finally figured out how to utilize her, and Navia has so much damage just built into her kit.
Indeed.
Is a very solid character now.
Here we have another Crystallize. Well, the first Crystallize, actually. And now we go into game 2 with Megane starting on Jiori. So that will be...
Yokosaurus
Obviously...
Specters and Overflowing Phlegistine, so Gachina could like twirl up a storm here. And Churi doesn't actually threaten that much damage on her own, unless you get the summon which gives her +1 Geo damage on her normal attacks and converts it to Geo as well.
Here's Jiori talent, which means she summons 2 automaton dolls instead of 1. Unfortunately, the first one is always a standard one.
Yep.
So now there's a Jiori doll with the extra effect. I will need to consult my image bank for which effect that is.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the game knowledge to just instantly know off appearance. Your caster is washed. I'm sorry, chat.
No, literally nobody can tell them apart except me.
I know it is set based off the appearance, but like, there's no reason to memorize it because you can usually just tap on it and know. But for poor casters like us, you should be able to know, but your caster is washed.
It's the Fighting with Her Eyes Tamoto, which is the +1 Geo damage twice around. It's the
that's
optimal
huge.
Tamoto. Yes.
That's the goated one.
It's the goated doll. You only have a
goated doll.
20% chance of the goated doll not appearing, so...
Yeah, so for the record, what Chiori talent does is lets you pick between 3 out of 4 dolls.
It's pick 1 out of 4 dolls instead of 1 out of 3.
1 out of 4, but 3 appear out of 4 total in the pool.
No. Right. Let me start over.
Words are
Theory
hard.
elemental skill. Let's you choose one from three Theory's automaton dolls. There are 5 in total, and one of them is the goat.
I thought it was 4 in total. Okay, guess not.
Yep, there was
Your
5.
caster is so short on game knowledge. Your caster is washed.
And with the talent up, instead of choosing from 3, you choose from a selection of 4. So there's only one chance to not get the goated Tamoto fighting with her eyes shut.
Well, lucky for Tada no Megane, he does get the goated one TM.
The goated one TM. Right.
Are we
And
normal typing
now
Shiori? Ain't no way.
oh,
Oh, we just summoned again. Wait, what?
someone's a third doll. Now there's 4 Geo summons on the field.
Which one does this do?
This one is eyes open, effortlessly outclassing opponents Tamoto. After your characters other than Giori uses a skill, this summon deals 1 Geo damage. This is considered summon damage.
And you combine it with the goated one and Zhongli talent. Hold on.
It is going to be a total of like 2, 4, 6, 8, and that's plus 1 Geo damage twice, so that's 10 damage in phase.
That's so much damage. That's disgusting.
Yep. That's certainly something, alright. It's actually my first time seeing this setup, and I'm appalled.
It's so disgusting. Double talent into the goated doll, but that being said, Gambler's Reset coming in for Dio, and he still has dice to spare to go twirling. Has the Saurus Crackers as well. And the Boar Princess has 1 stack as well, so it will guarantee at least 1 Omni dice after the Kachina talent gets discarded.
Yep. So now it's only up for Zhongli to carry the show and face off against Kachina and Navia at once.
Well, the good news is that because Dio went for the lethal there, he wasn't able to get the crystallized from Kachina twirling, so still only 3 shrapnels left in the bank. Zhongli, though, doesn't have all of his equips ready at the moment, but then again, this deck doesn't have Totem, so you might not even need it. We'll have the +4 healing next time from the Spring O'Clock as well, though. So that will mitigate a lot of damage that will come out from Navia, and because he's still a very healthy 10 HP due to the 2 max HP buff, he's not within 1-shot range from Navia's shrapnels now just yet, even assuming if Dio has max shrapnel.
Indeed, max shrapnel is 5, so that's a total of 8 damage. Crystallized for 9, that's not enough.
Well, Fury from the Mystique Soup could change that, but that is a 50-50 gamble, assuming you get the effect. Because you get to choose 3 from a total of 6. 1 of 3 from a max pool of 6. There we go.
Yep. Select sure is a confusing one to word.
Indeed it is.
So the select mechanic is a hallmark of the Nightwind, and some select effects such as Giori and Near My Tea Time.
I'm a bit surprised Dio didn't go for a Saurus Cracker there. That way you'd have 1 extra dice to either twirl again or swap off. Looks like they are just...
the Saurus Crackers come out now.
Yeah, no, sorry. We could have also chosen to swap off as well. Finally get a Shrapnel, that's nice. No more dice remaining. No, we do have 1 for the Board Prince after the Technique discard. Never mind.
Yep. And let's see what happens next. The summons total up to 10 damage, so Kachina will survive at 4 after the GRS.
We could have went to Linny to eat some of the damage as well, but I think we just want to preserve as many characters as we can, because Zhongli Petrify is a pain to deal with, and just having 1 extra character tank that is nice, and having someone to spread the damage during the turn as well gives us extra flexibility for swap stalling as well.
I think Dio's treating the Kachina as lost, and is trying to sacrifice her to keep the Linny and Navia engine going for the Crystallized or Shards.
Yeah, I mean, Kachina's kind of already done her job. We were able to get, one stick crystallize already. We already eliminated 1 character, and Kokomi is half HP as well. If Kachina goes down to Kokomi somehow by some miracle, there is enough damage in hand for Dio to just tap Kokomi. One shrapnel plus crystallize on a skill is enough to do 5 damage. The question here, though, is do we have enough to break through Zhongli?
We could get a lucky hit with Navia if we draw enough. The problem is Dio doesn't have any draw on hand.
True.
And Mekane is playing, which means that Kokomi might be summoning and cleansing the Pyro Aura.
Yeah. Tadano Megane did get to end first, so we can deny another Crystallize. Linny, assuming Dio wants to play for it, can probably get one more Pyro Aura off. But we need to get another Crystallize first, because we're assuming Kokomi's going to cleanse here, which means it's kind of all onto the Zhongli if we want to get more Shrapnel, which is kind of rough. Because we went for the lethal onto Chiori last turn, we deny ourselves another 3 in the deck, which means right now Navia only has 3 Shrapnel total to work with.
Ooh, second copy of Hot Spring O'Clock.
That's pretty big. It
That's
will
big.
heal 3 due to 3 summons, but the Zhongli Pillar itself, timed out, so we're going to go -1 healing on that. And if we want to use max value from Spring Clock, we kind of need to do it this turn, because both of Chiori's summons are going to time out next turn.
Here comes Make Kurake. Oh, that's... Wow.
Big damage.
The outclassing opponent Samoto coordinated the geo damage.
We could try to... We can try to fish for one of the healing or / shielding effects. If we eat the Mystique Soup right now, both both Serenity and healing will make it so that we gain +2 HP to go to 3, which means we'll live a Kokomi normal attack to threaten some twirling. But Tadano Megane has a fast swap over onto Zhongli, but there's not enough dice to... No, there is, because of Stormfairy's Lair. It would reduce his 5-cost skill to 4, so there's barely enough dice for Tadano Megane to skill on Zhongli. But if that happens, he'll be completely out of dice, and then we can maybe threaten something over onto Navia. I think the correct play here is to eat the Mystique Soup, fish for one of the healing effects, either healing or Serenity, and then force Megane to either eat some Kachina twirling or go over onto Zhongli with a fast swap.
Instead, plays Dawn Runnery, swaps immediately to Navia.
I guess we're trying to run our opponent out of dice. This could work as well.
Yep, this is going to be swap stalling. As you remember, that strategy you mentioned earlier with Zhongli is quite tight on dice. Which
Very
means...
expensive.
Yep. Which means if you run Mekane out of dice first, then Dio would be able to play freely. Dio here plays stuff.
Doesn't really get anything useful. No, but we don't want to end on 5 dice here. Like, I was gonna say, we could try to play the Golden Troop onto Zhongli and then pass the turn, and then just make Dio waste all of this dice over into Kachina and let our summons do the rest for us and just force Dio onto a single character, but there's just not enough dice to pass over to the next turn, and we don't want to lose 5 dice worth of potential damage.
And the summons are all going to somehow... Oh, the summons are going to expire too. That's troubling. Anyway.
And
here,
Kokomi.
An A from Kokomi into Navia. So that's at least one guaranteed Crystallize.
Going over onto Linny, this will cost us 1 dice because our Dawn Runner did run out after that second swap. But Tadano Megane is playing a double Geo deck, which means he could have Geo Resonance, and you don't want to risk your 1 HP Kachina going down to a Kokomi normal attack if Tadano Megane does have that in hand, and he did just play a Stove and get 2 cards. We lose out some damage potential, but hopefully it won't matter.
I'm not sure if not playing Hot Spring O'Clock right there is the right choice, because after this, your Hot Spring O'Clock is not going to be able to get the maximum potential anymore.
Well, we still have 1 dice left, so we use it for the Hot Spring Clock.
And ends a round. So now Dio has 6 free dice.
I assume it is a Linny Burst into Kachina Twirl. Mystique Soup. What effect did we get? Also, who do we play it on?
I see the healing effect. I am starting to read the Chinese.
I'm glad one of us can at least. We go on to Linny. Is this Fury? No, it's the minus dice.
It's the minus dice. I have now remembered the character for the minus dice.
Well, okay. That is Koku down to 4.
Alright, now what next?
Skill will get the lethal and reset our gamblers. But that does mean, unfortunately, we won't have enough dice to go twirl on Kachina. Actually, no, we can twirl once on Kachina.
Yeah. We can throw once, and what next?
I think it's twirl once and then swap. I feel like we need to get more shrapnel for Navia, otherwise it's just impossible to break through the Zhongli.
Right,
on the other hand, we might need to draw. I think we need to get the shrapnel first, though. I think that's the most important thing.
I don't think we shrapnel right now, but we'll need to...
but we need to get it. We need to get it crystallized somehow.
Yeah, we need to get... We need to somehow get all the shrapnels up and then Navia nuke into something.
Yeah, I think it's just... I think it's a Kachina twirl here, and then we don't have enough dice to swap off, unfortunately.
Place the
love the
Woven.
Source Crackers. True. Would have loved the Source Crackers, though.
This is either going to hit or going to swap. I think it is going to be a twirl.
I think we hit, because that way we get to absorb the extra Geo damage end phase.
And we also get to add the shrapnels early.
I think we sacrifice Kachina here. No, we swap? Really?
Swap? Ah.
I personally like the idea of just twirling because we get more damage that way, and then we also absorb the extra bonus damage from the summon over onto Kachina. But I mean, I suppose Dio calced it better than me. We get to keep the aura onto Navia now as well.
Indeed.
I like the idea of twirling as well because we get 1 extra pyro aura from our shrapnel.
Yeah, maybe there's something we didn't see. Oh, the Kachina talent draws 1 card. That's what Dio was saving for.
I suppose.
I suppose.
We don't have a lot of drawn hands, so I guess that makes sense.
No, but hitting would also draw 1 card. Like, I don't think that's what that was going for, but...
I don't know, why are we preserving this Kachina? I don't understand. Maybe it's like, let her take a hit and then get a free swap over onto Navia if Zhongli is threatening to petrify? Maybe?
Or maybe it's to use her ult as the final hit.
A lot of things you can play for. Unfortunately, there is no Pyro Aura now. That's completely gone. So whatever Shrapnel Dio has, which unfortunately is only 6, it could 9 if we attacked onto Zhongli last turn.
And Zhongli now has another overwhelming shield ahead of us.
Has enough to skill again as well. Navi is within lethal range. If we skill right now, it's not enough to lethal, and then we'll die to the counter attack. I think this kind of forces the Kachina swap, because we don't have any healing in hand right now either.
Yeah. So... I believe the match is close to its conclusion. Let's see who come out on top.
Dio needs to break through this turn, otherwise Tadano Megane wins. But also, Tadano Megane only has 1 more action in the tank.
Tries to
Not
gamble,
what we were looking
gets a break.
Comes up short.
Will Dio go for another gamble?
Keep in mind, every time he tries to gamble with a shrapnel, that's 1 less shrapnel he has to boost Navia's skill damage.
It's that... I mean, if you're going to use shrapnel for damage anyway, it's just 1... It's the same damage, but you lose 1 dice for your actions.
Yeah, it's just less efficient. What are we fishing here if we were Dio? Like, obviously Navia talent would be really nice, but is there something else that will get us out of this predicament?
Boar Princess, swap Kachina.
Yeah, that would. Well, we already have Boar. I tuned the talent. Just going in on Navia, okay.
Yeah, if you Boar Princess go to Kachina, then Mekane is forced to defeat the Kachina, which means you get 2 Omni dice. So you might be able to play more Shrapnels after that.
But we skilled on Navia now, and there's no quip on her. Tadano Mekane only needs 1 skill in order to eliminate her. And then I don't think Dio has enough dice left in the deck to actually counterattack with Kachina.
It might still be possible.
Another
Oh,
Eternity coming out, converting all to Omni.
yeah, that.
And gets the extra shield as well. Can Kachina do 11 damage with only 3 dice?
No.
I don't think this is possible. And summons will guarantee the game. Also, next turn, Tadano Megane will have a Petrify as well. And Tadano Megane will have turn priority. So I just don't see a way in which Dio wins this. And he knows it too.
Mekane is around because of the lack of dice. Dio is going to try to desperately get the Kachina to trill. Unfortunately, I think that's not enough.
Comes up short. Like, Mystique Soup, assuming we had the dice with the Fury effect, would only make Kachina's burst do 5. So we're still 2 damage short. Not that we'll ever get to that point, we don't have it. Oh, perhaps the Mao, though.
Going to Mao, and now play Mystic Soup. The mouse will give back 2 dice. And if you get
maybe if we find the dice reduction effect for our skill, perhaps it might be possible.
I do not see it. I do not see it.
Would it even be in theory? Because it's -2 reduction. Our skill would cost 0, and then we get 2 refund.
Oh my god, Soros crackers.
Oh.
Oh. Unfortunate.
No, it's not enough. It's not enough.
Late.
Source Crackers would have been huge last turn because then we get to save our Woven, but it's just not to be.
And that's another victory. And that means Tadano Mekane has won the match.
Yeah, we can also see the 2 HP buff on both Kokomi and Zhongli coming in super clutch there. Both of them were able to absorb an extra hit as well. If it wasn't for the +2 HP on Kokomi, Kachina would have been able to get an extra smack onto Zhongli, which probably would have taken the game for Dio. And the extra 2 max HP for Zhongli as well made it so that a Fury empowered burst from Kachina wouldn't have been enough, because he lived on exactly 2 HP after that. So we see like the smallest adjustment in some of these older characters are bringing them new meta relevance.
Yes, according to the Genius Invocation TCG character rating form, Zhongli is the character that has increased in rating of strength last patch, jumping up over like 70 places or something. He is just that powerful now after his max HP adjustment.
I mean, I remember Zhongli on release playing G-Oceanid. He just got infinite HP because he kept getting crystallizes from the summons, and then like, now with the +2 max HP, it kind of feels the same, where he's just like an unbreakable wall to go through. And then with the adjustments a few patches ago, you don't even need to equip him to do big damage anymore.
Yeah. Though honestly, I don't remember the G-Oceanid.
Oh really? I remember that.
Yeah, all I remember was that Joshin was good, but it was not Zhongli who was in there.
Really? I remember the Zhongli variation. That was in 3.7, right before the very first Prince Cup. It was like the strongest deck of the group stages. Later, Shenhe SC became like the strongest deck of the meta, but that's beside the point. Congratulations for Tadano Megane for winning another very fast 2-0 versus Dio. Dio will have another chance though down in the lower bracket because he's managed to preserve his second life thus far.
Quite. Right, with Dojabao and Dio winning their respective matches 2-0, they'll be facing off against each other for the losers bracket final, and the winner of that will get to participate in the elimination round.
Oh, I stand corrected. Dio and Tadano Megane were both in the lower bracket. I thought it was still the upper bracket. Never mind. I'm just spreading misinfo all day today. I apologize.
Yeah, they are both loser semis today. And as for the winners bracket final, it is Injagi versus Air. Both of them will get to join the elimination bracket. But
Both
the
of
problem
whom
is,
are going to run Kachina. I am predicting this right now.
I am pretty sure they do. Regardless, so one of them will join on the top bracket, and one of them will join on the bottom. Their match on the winners bracket final will be deciding who gets to go with an extra life.
Yeah, honestly, looking at all the decks we have to see today, other than Kachina, which is very, very strong, and I assume all of our remaining players are going to run. What other decks do you think we're going to see?
We might be able to see that Eremite deck in action. I've heard rumors that Injagi brought that Eremite deck reluctantly.
That Eremite deck looked spicy. I kind of really want to see it. It looks kind of fun.
Yeah, from what I heard, Injagi doesn't actually trust in that deck, but he brought it
Really?
anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that works out. Right, for tomorrow's matches, the first match to be played will be the losers bracket final, which is Doja Bao versus Tadano Megane. I believe this is a rematch of another official tournament from back then. It was the Busan WCG, was it? Where
We're
they
going to
faced off
all day, every day here.
Yeah, it's a revenge match. Megane was the Busan runner-up, and Doja Bao defeated Megane and became the champion. We'll have to see if history repeats tomorrow.
Yeah, and then the second match of the day will be Air versus Inzaghi, which is another rematch. They've played each other in the Prince Cup Pacific group stages quite a few times, so we'll have to see who's going to get the up end on that.
Gee, history is repeating a lot. What is this, Amphorius?
The cyclical nature of the cycle. I love like Anaxa's voiceover. He has that perfect combination of arrogance and then like superiority. It's great. Makes me want to kick him.
Right. We'll see what happens in the next cycle. When we come back, we'll be seeing two matches from the past repeated in the present, and their results will shape the future.
Exactly.
This is Summation,
and this is Sumi,
and we bid you all farewell.